Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Welcome to Stamp School. Today we're going to talk about blending tools. But first I want to let you know this video is sponsored by artneco.com. They have gorgeous stamps that don't go out of style. That's what I really love. They have backgrounds, they have ATC stamps, they have gorgeous flowers and bamboo and other nature-inspired images that are also Asian-inspired. They're gorgeous. Geishas, dragons, pandas. You're going to find so many beautiful things if you check out their website. Plus, they have a money-saving coupon for all Stamp School attendees. That's you guys. Check out the video description for your code to save 10% on your order. All right, so I have all my little blending tools out, and there are a lot. And the good news is you can make your own at home to duplicate the store-bought ones in most instances. So I like to break it down into the different types of blending tools. So we've got kind of sponge type blenders and brush type blenders. So our sponge type blenders are probably what you're going to find the most useful. The most popular one is actually not one that I use, but it is the Ink Essentials blending tool, or the Tim Holtz Ranger blending tool. And basically what that is cut and dry foam with Velcro on the back that fits their little applicator handle. So that's a really popular one if you're looking for a recommendation. I know a lot of stampers really like that. So let me give you an idea of how that would work by cutting a little piece of this cut and dry foam off and using it with some ink pads. Now you will, when you're doing direct to paper techniques like this, you're going to go through ink. I would recommend picking up some of the distress inks and perhaps some re-inkers to go with them, because this is a juicy ink. It's not the best for stamping, but it's really good for blending. So what you would do, and you'd have a, if you bought the store-bought one, you'd get a handle and you'd hook it to your handle. But you would basically just press the foam onto the ink pad to pick up some ink. And then you would start off of, you'd work on scrap paper and you'd start off of the item that you're going to try to ink up, and you would just kind of bring it in. Now the handle would make that a little bit easier, but that just gives you the idea. Now, one tip for using a blender is to keep one, whatever kind you choose, keep one for each color. Like I have here with these are the foam blenders that I like. These are ones that I made. I took a cosmetic sponge from the dollar store. I folded it in half and hot glued the ends into this little bottle cap. It works great. I've been using these for years, and I keep one for each color, and that way they stay clean, and all that ink that's already in there is not going to waste. It'll all, I get to use it each time. So I can just do the same thing with this, and since it's already full of ink because I keep using it for this color, it blends really well. Okay, so these would be more of your fine, soft foam blenders. I really like the makeup tool. You don't even have to put it into a cap if you don't want to. But I mean, what is there, 28 of these in here at the Dollar Tree for $1. It's a great deal. Now there's other sponges like this right here, which is kind of like a potter's sponge, and you can, so it comes in a circle, and you can cut it up into 4 or 6 pie pieces, and you do the same exact thing. It's just for like sponging the edges. I have all these left over from a wreath that I made. Now this gives you a really, really soft effect, and you can actually take like a clothespin and clip the end here if you don't want to get your fingers inky. Just something to think about. It just gives you a much softer look, because I think because of if you look at the fibers here, I think maybe you can see there, this is much less dense, this is much more compressed, this is much more spacious or airy, I guess. So you're going to get a softer look, okay? And then, you might use a sea sponge. This is more for like decorative painting, but you may find that you want to have a sea sponge around for getting, different textures and stuff like that. Now there are other sponge tools. These peach ones here are by Pastel, and I just use mine for the Pastels. I don't use them for ink, but they're a hydrophobic, they're type of sponge, meaning they do not absorb water or material or like ink. Everything would stay right on the edge, and then it would all go right onto your paper. So I can try it here. I think that's clean. Let's just try. And then it blends off to nothing, and nothing really remains on your sponge. So those are the soft tools by Pastel, and that's how you spell that if you're looking for them. And they're much denser than even this. So it's like, this would be medium, this would be super, super dense. And then if you want something super, super dense, I've got 2 options. And well, I'll leave that out there just so you can see the difference. These I just found at the stamp show. These are by Doris, and they're kind of like those foam marshmallows. They're super, super dense. They don't hold on to much of the ink. So if you like ink it up, you could stamp with it. It's almost like a bath block. But you know, you can blend out your color and then you don't have much left on your ink when you're done. These are a homemade one with a fun foam, and I'll show you here how I made this. These are great for gelatos actually, because they really push it into the paper so it doesn't leave a greasy residue. So I have a piece of fun foam here. I cut a square of fun foam and then put like a coin in the middle and then just drew little semicircles on the side and cut them out. Then I took part of a cotton ball, I put that right on top of a doll clothespin, put that on top and secured it with a rubber band. Okay, so that's how I made this. This is also called Poor Man's Airbrush. I read about this in a book. I wish I could remember. It was a card making book a long time ago. So then to ink it up, you would just put it on your ink pad like that, and you know, you can kind of blend that way. But it's definitely more for when you want to, you know, have more defined lines. I think it works best with gelatos. I don't really use it for ink very much, but there's an option for you there. And did we have any other foam ones? I think that was it for the foam type. Oh, there's one more kind. It's another one by Doris. And I really like it. It's these are a very, very loose foam, like the Potter sponges here, except they come in different sizes, so you can really get detailed on how you apply your ink. Let me just take one of these larger ones, and I'll show you on another die cut. Oh, I could show you on this die cut. So you just load it up like that, and again, I would keep one for each color. And you can really control how much ink you get, and it gives you a super duper soft blend. Look at the blend on that petal. So highly controlled. These are Doris. I think it's about $5 for a pack of 20 of assorted sizes, so not very expensive. I haven't had them wear down on me, but I haven't really used them a ton. I learned about them at a stamp show. Local King was using them, so that's how I happened upon those. And then, oh, there's one other type of foam ones, and they're still available. They used to come in all kinds of sizes, actually. I have a lot of the size, probably all the sizes they used to come in. They don't anymore, but these are the Color Box tipped, what are they called? Stylus, the Color Box Stylus. And currently, I think they only come in like the marquee or the leaf shape. They used to come in all kinds of shapes, but I'll just show you how this works really easily. I might even have a little leaf die that I could show you on. I was doing a lot of mixed meal. I got the scrap of paper. That's gonna have to do. So you ink it up by just pressing it. I like this handle on this. I think that's really kind of cool. And then you just, you know, drag it in from the edge, just like you would with the, it's very much like the Tim Holtz, like the Ranger ones. And then that's, you know, about the type of blending you would get. So it's really great for doing the edges of die cuts. I wish they still made all the different shapes, but now they just make the leaf type shape. But definitely, you know, keeps your hands clean. I really like it. I don't think there's a huge, I mean, those are obviously more expensive than the Doris ones that I showed you, but I think they're really, really nice to use. I should use mine more. They're kind of been up on a shelf because I've been using this little cigar box, and my homemade ones just fit so nicely right behind me on the shelf. That's what I usually grab first. Okay, so those are foam types of blenders. Now, there's also brush types of blenders, and you know what? You might have a lot of these things that you can use right at your home already. So please see what you have before you go out and invest in any. But hopefully this will help you decide what kind of blending you want or what, you know, to invest in. Alright, so some of my favorites are the Color Dusters by Judy Kins. They're like these little shaving brushes basically. And I have quite a few because I bought some, and then my friend Jill, Stampira on YouTube, sent me a bunch. So that was really nice of her. So I have pretty much one for about every color of ink, or just about what I would use. So again, I don't wash them in between colors. I would use this for any mossy type color green. I would use this for any pink. You know, that way you get to keep using that color that's in the bristles, and you don't have to reload that brush completely every time you want to go use it, which is really nice. So I'll ink the edges of one of these. And look at that soft, subtle look. See how soft and beautiful that is? It's really hard to do that. Like this, the really looser sponges are a little bit closer. Very hard to get that look with a dense foam. I just love the Color Dusters. They're probably ones I reach for most. And another cool thing that I like about these is that you can get that spattery technique really good. Like if I want to give a spritz of that, I'm gonna do it off camera because I don't want to wet my entire. I don't know if I got any big drops. I don't think I got any big drops. Let me just... Okay, so if I do that and then I color dust over that, wherever I had that damp, I'm just going to dry that really quick, just kind of blot off the excess. So you could actually stamp with water and do the same thing. But So watch this. Now if I go over that where I've kind of put those spatters, look at that. You get a really cool watercolor spatter look without having to, you know, fling water all over the place. You just have to fling a little, I mean, without having to fling paint, you just fling a little bit of water. So that's just kind of another cool effect that you can do. If you stamped an image with water and then you brushed over it with this, you would get like kind of a really distressed look. It's just another way to do a technique, and I love that. Okay, so also maybe you don't want to have the short-handled thing because you want to store them in a cup, or you want to keep your hands clean. You can also find longer handled ones, different sizes. You know, this is typically how they look. I don't know why they have a top like that. I think that's kind of different, but that's how they come. But you do the same exact thing. This one probably isn't as loaded up with ink, so it might not release as much, but it's the same idea. And it's just a stipple brush. Now, something I found that I really liked along these same lines were stencil brushes. So I've got this, and this is how I store my blending tools. I have this acrylic frame here. It's just one of those 8x10 picture frames that are at the craft store. They come with like a white box insert that you'd put a photo in, but these are great because I can have all my little color dusters like this. I have my stipple brushes in a very fancy soup can. I don't even have paper on the outside of it. It's a travesty. I'm a crafter. I don't even have my soup can covered. It's just a plain soup can. Good grief. So I took this bucket and and I put all my little clothespins around that, my little gelato blenders, and then inside I have a mason jar which has my little stencil brushes. So you may have stenciled in the past. You may have a lot of those hanging around. And if so, go ahead and use them for this. But again, I wish I had more of these in different sizes because a lot of times I do have to clean them to get to another color, and you really need them dry in order to not have a goopy mess. So let me just show you here on one of these petals. Well, let me get a fresh flower. These are all left over from my wreath project. Did I mention that yet? I might have. It's crazy. The kids haven't gone back to school yet. I'm kind of sneaking down here and doing videos whenever I have the second, whenever they're busy doing something else. But if you're doing like, say you've stamped something that's fairly detailed and you want to, you know, add color, but you don't want to bother getting out your markers, you can like go in and add, you know, spots of color where you want it. You can be very specific and deliberate with your ink application with these, but you still get a very soft look. So you still get, you know, something that can look polished. You know, it doesn't look like it's like you just kind of scribbled it with a marker. You can get a really soft look. It's really great if you like a vintage look. I can blend those two together. You know, so these are stencil brushes. I got a package of these at Michael's, and I think it was like about $8, and I think I got like 12 brushes or something. They're the Royal and Langnickel brand with the clear handles. I like clear handle brushes, but there's just another idea if you like that kind of softer blending. And let me think. I think that's about it for my blending tools. If you have any questions, please leave a comment in the video description, and I will answer your questions the best way I can. So the other thing is, if you like to do other mediums, like you want to use chalk, the sponge blenders work great for that. These are also pretty cool. These are the Hydrophobic Sponges, I said it right, the soft tools, but these actually fit on little tiny palette knives. Where are mine? Oh, wouldn't you know? I have no idea where they are. They're there. So they fit on these little palette knives, and then you can just pick up your ink, but it's really much better for chalk and just kind of spread it around, and it's a great way to keep your hands clean and control where your chalk is going. And so all kinds of different options. I bought these before I bought any pan pastels, because I thought maybe I could just use these with my chalk sticks and get by. And it's a cool technique, but I really like them better with the pan pastels. But they weren't very expensive to get a little starter kit of the knives and the tips. But there you have it. Lots of different blending options. A lot of them you can make at home. Oh, there was one more thing I wanted to show you, and that was my homemade alcohol ink blender. And to show you that, I am going to get a tile, because when you're using alcohol ink, you're generally working on glossy cardstock or dominoes or tiles or some other non-porous surface. And I've got a tile right here. And alcohol inks are kind of like the ink that's in a Sharpie marker. So what did I do with my bag of inks? You should see my craft room. It looks like a, I don't know, a Mod Podge yarn explosion. That's all I can think of. Ah, here we go. Not where they should be at all, but I found them. Okay, so what I did is I went to the craft store and I bought cheap acrylic felt, and you have to get cheap acrylic felt, not expensive wool felt, because it will not work. Wool felt is not good for this, so cheap acrylic felt. And then I got just a kid's baby block. It was one of my kids left over, and I stuck the hook side of hook and loop Velcro to each of the sides, and I left the two parts with the letters by themselves, just left them alone. And then you can actually put a different square on each color, on each side if you want to. I'm just going to do these two because I really don't need to get that much ink out. And then I keep all my alcohol inks in a bag so I don't, you know, mix them up with my re-inkers or anything. And then I can put a couple different drops on my little blending tool here. Let's do a couple blues on this side, we'll do purples on the other, and we'll see what we get. You don't need very much, I'll tell you that. Alcohol ink is so versatile. I like to use it for jewelry making, I use it for card making. Maybe we should do a stamp school on that. If anybody's interested, let me know. But you just get a really cool effect when you start dabbing this ink around. So there's glossy cardstock called Chrome Coat that you can use for this. It doesn't work great with photo paper. Because photo paper dries too quickly, but you can do some really cool stuff with this. Or you could also use Copic re-inkers or, you know, Spectrum Noir re-inkers, any of that stuff, but I think that probably the Ranger alcohol ink is a little bit cheaper. I could use a little bit of silver. They make a silver and a gold, which are kind of cool. I can find it in my bag. I see my gold. I don't want the gold though, I want the silver. I'm just going to put a couple drops right on there. This is rather opaque, so you do have to be careful because it will cover up some of your other stuff. And you can actually give it a spritz of like just rubbing alcohol. I got some right here actually, and that will do some cool stuff to it as well. Actually, I'll show you before I spritz it just in case I make a terrible mistake here. And see, just get some other really cool effects that way. And then let it dry and give yourself a lovely coaster. I would put a little triple thick glaze on it or something, but that is my my alcohol ink blending tool, and it actually was a direct rip-off to the Ranger blending tool because I had a little handle with some Velcro on it. I'm like, well, if I use a baby block, I get 4 surfaces and cut my own felt, and it's way cheaper. So that's what I did. You can do whatever you like. I hope you found this fun and useful. Please check out our sponsor, artneco.com, for all of your stamping needs. Thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Until next time, happy crafting.